News Weekend why more students are willing to sign on for tougher courses, then swearing allegiance to a new country.
It's very exciting. It's something to look forward to.
A day of celebration in Brooklyn Center. But first, why a local exercise equipment company has a date with the U.S. Supreme Court. 12 News Weekend starts right now. Companies that develop new technology will be paying close attention to a Supreme Court hearing this week.
A Brooklyn Park company is at the center of it all. They hope a decision could curb so-called baseless lawsuits. You might not know it, but exercise equipment you use at the gym may come from Brooklyn Park-based Octane Fitness.
We're focused on something we call zero impact exercise. So it's products that you can get a great workout on, wake up the next morning and your body feels fantastic.
The company has been in Brooklyn Park for 8 years, and they've spent 6 years of that time defending 2 patents. One was a heart rate monitor on an elliptical machine. The other,
To explain it simply, a linkage patent, a linkage inside of the machine that drives the feel.
after a long fight, courts ruled in favor of Octane Fitness, but it came at a big cost.
We, having spent 6 years and $1.8 million defending ourselves against something that we felt was totally frivolous, sued back for fees, hoping to have some justice at least that way.
Their petition will now go before the Supreme Court. Octane Fitness hopes a groundbreaking decision could curb so-called baseless lawsuits.
Really the outcome of the case hopefully will be that gets more in balance so that people have to come with a real legitimate case if they're going to enter into a lawsuit.
So if a patent holder is unreasonably sued, a judge could make the losing party pay part of the attorney fees. Other companies like Apple, Google, and 3M have written the Supreme Court about this case, saying they are tired of frivolous patent suits that drain money and time away from their company.
It's taken on a much bigger picture in my mind than Octane Fitness now.
Lawyers for Octane Fitness will argue the case before the Supreme Court on Wednesday. A ruling is not expected until this summer. College textbooks, more homework, and a big test at the end of the school year.
It's not exactly what you expect high schoolers to willingly sign on for, but new numbers show otherwise. The Minnesota Department of Education says the number of students taking advanced placement classes has doubled in the last decade. And as Cassie Bonstrom explains, it's having a huge impact academically.
When the verdict came down against Tom in To Kill a Mockingbird,
there are more students than ever taking Mr. Zelenak's AP U.S. History class this year.
you can write all over them, you can use a highlighter.
Part of it is because the Osseo High School teacher is funny,
Most of you found
charismatic, and clearly passionate about his job.
in 1857.
But these students also know there's more at stake.
If you pass the test, you don't have to take the class in college. It's just saving you money and time in the long run.
The Osseo students are just a few of the thousands of students across the state
How many of you say he was mean?
taking advantage of the financial and academic benefits of advanced placement classes. According to the Department of Education, students got passing grades on more than 42,000 AP tests last year. That potentially saved students and their families more than $44 million in college costs.
If students and parents alike can understand the concept of delayed gratification, I mean, that's $2,000 in your pocket, or $4,000 or $5,000, depending on what school you pick.
For some students, of course, it's not so much about saving money as it is about being challenged.
I actually really like the extra work.
They're debating.
Either way, they're hoping the time and effort put in pays off.
There's a lot of hard work that you have to do, but it's worth it.
In Osseo, I'm Cassie Bonstrom, 12 News.
The Osseo School District currently offers up to 13 AP courses, but they hope to offer even more in the coming years to respond to the growing interest.
On a related note, Minnesota posted its highest graduation rates in a decade. The state reported 79.5% of Minnesota high school seniors graduated in 2013, which is a nearly 2% jump from 2012. If you break it down to different ethnic groups, students made gains across the board.
We just are so proud of our school districts. We're proud of our teachers, our principals who are paying attention to every single kid.
State Education Commissioner Brenda Cassellius credits the gains to what she calls targeted investments by Governor Dayton and the legislature, as well as greater accountability for schools. While gains were made across the board, graduation rates for Black and Hispanic students are still below 60%, and for Native Americans, that number is 48%. State officials admit there's still more work to be done.
Anoka-Hennepin school officials have chosen a new superintendent. David Law will replace Superintendent Dennis Carlson when Carlson retires at the end of June. Law is currently an assistant superintendent in the White Bear Lake District. And for Law, it's a chance to serve the school district where he went to school as a child. He also taught in the district and now has 3 children attending Anoka-Hennepin schools. Law was selected Thursday night after a search process that included input from students, staff, and the community.
Our tough winter is tapping into dwindling salt supplies. Reporter Sonia Goen shows us how some suburbs are running low on road salt.
Many folks are growing weary over winter, especially Brooklyn Park maintenance crews.
The only thing we've done this since December 4th, whether plowing the streets, scraping the streets, winging back on the streets, or pushing back in cul-de-sacs or plowing sidewalks.
Steve Nauer is not too happy with Mother Nature.
If it doesn't snow anymore, we're fine.
But that's wishful thinking.
There's some things we can't control, right?
Winter has been a pain in the pocketbook for the city of Brooklyn Park. They've already maxed out their overtime budget, and they've used up 100% of their salt budget. Now, this looks like a lot of salt, but officials say they're going to need more.
We are allowed to get another 300 tons under the state contract, and we're going to try to figure out a way to find the funds for that.
The city has to be careful with the remaining salt.
It is going to snow tomorrow, that's what they're saying.
It has to last until next December.
There's probably 2,500 tons sitting here.
Every April, city officials try to guess what type of winter we're going to have. They then take the average and buy salt based on that data.
It doesn't seem like we ever have an average winter. It's either like 3 years ago or it's like the last 2.
It takes a lot of manpower and money to plow the 260 miles of roads in Brooklyn Park. City officials hope winter is winding down.
If this happens again and again like it has all winter, sure, it's going to be a concern by the end of the year.
In Brooklyn Park, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
Officials in Plymouth say if they start getting low, they'll mix sand and salt together to make the salt supply last longer.
In our week in review, the Golden Valley City Council decides to reconsider plans for a youth mental health facility in their city, but now they must wait to see if the developer is still on board. This week, the council voted unanimously to repeal their vote from 2 weeks ago when they denied a permit for the facility. Council members say they want to work with Lifespan, the company running the facility, and look at the proposal with fresh eyes.
We need to be sensitive to what we're saying and how we say it. There's ways to ask questions, there's ways to express concerns, but we need to be sensitive about this situation.
Lifespan's CEO said they are still interested in the site and will work with the city. Mayor Harris promised that future discussions will be more productive. Police believe 2 armed robberies in New Hope are connected. The first robbery happened at Family Dollar on February 1st. The second occurred at Dollar Tree on February 16th. Both are located on Winnetka Avenue, and both daytime robberies involve 2 men with a handgun. New Hope police released these 2 surveillance photos of 2 men that they are calling persons of interest. If you recognize them, you're asked to call the New Hope Police Department's tip line. That number is 763-531-5169.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
And the state of Minnesota.
8 new officers officially joined the ranks of the Brooklyn Park Police Department this week. Their new boss calls it the most challenging yet most rewarding job they'll ever have. The new officers come from all different backgrounds, some with experience in the National Guard and State Patrol, others with experience in the private sector. More than 150 people applied for the open positions, and the 8 men selected have been through a long training process that included 6 weeks of police academy training. They now begin 16 more weeks of on-the-job field training. The new officers bring the department 1 officer shy of full strength at 109. Coming up on 12 News Weekend, an exciting day of celebration for new Americans in Brooklyn Center.
And later in sports, Champlin Park takes care of last year's Northwest Suburban champ to wrap up the conference title in boys basketball.
But first, in your AccuWeather forecast, an unwanted guest, the polar vortex, comes back midweek. The United States continues to be a magnet for immigrants who dream of a better life.
In Brooklyn Center this week, more than 400 people became U.S. citizens in a ceremony to coincide with President's Day. Eric Nelson was there.
I was so exciting. I can't believe it.
Brooklyn Center was the center of the world for a group of immigrants from every continent. A melting pot of people, citizens excited to call America their new home.
I will go back home and look at my my paper again and again.
There was clearly a global footprint today here at the Earl Brown Heritage Center. A total of 444 immigrants from 79 countries became new citizens. Getting their citizenship certificates produced a wide range of emotions for these newly minted Americans. There was a mixture of jubilation and reflection.
It's very emotional. It's both in positive ways, and it's a little bit sad too. I'm missing back home as well, but it's very exciting. It's something to look forward to, something to be proud of.
Amara Gul came to the USA in 2008 from Pakistan. Gul works at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester and is very happy in her new country.
My family is here. I've made a lot of friends over the years. I work here. I love where I work.
For these newcomers, the chance to become part of the USA's cultural mosaic is a dream come true. They felt the tug of freedom and believe this is the land of opportunity.
After I came here, I got the opportunity, to work and to support my family and to be considered as a human being.
We are sought after in terms of not only educational opportunities, but entrepreneurship opportunities to make a difference, and then just freedom and democracy.
Yes, it was a day of flag waving for these proud Americans. Their long journey to their new nation now complete.
This is the end of a long struggle. Now I'm very much happy and proud.
In Brooklyn Center, Eric Nelson, 12 News.
It's an exciting day, always is.
Good for them.
Coming up, more kinds of vodka than you can imagine, how that's getting a local restaurant national recognition.
Then the North Suburban Conference lead is on the line as Cooper battles Benilde St. Margaret's in girls basketball. That's coming up in sports with Jay Wilcox.
Jay joins us now with sports. We're talking basketball.
Yeah, Champlin Park having a great season, and they're trying to continue and getting ready for the playoffs here. Following just their second loss of the season on January 30th to Osseo, the Champlin Park boys basketball team has been perfect in February. The Northwest Suburban Conference leading Rebels were shooting for their 5th straight win when they hosted crosstown rival Park Center this week. The Rebels' Marty Hill gets a blocked shot on Isaac Matthews here, and it starts a break for Champlin Park. Brennan Witt to Ian Smith for the layup, and it's 7-4 Rebels. Nice drive by the Pirates' Amani Hooker, and he floats one in. He scores 13 in the game. Park Center's within 1 at this point. Champlin Park creates a lot of turnovers, though. J.T. Gibson with the steal here, and he takes it all the way for 2 plus a foul, and the Rebels lead it by 6. 5 Champlin Park players score in double figures. That includes Jeremy Johnson, who nets 11, including this 3 from the corner. Isaiah McKay's having a good season. He tries to keep the Pirates in it. He follows his own miss to score here. He has 17 points on the night for Park Center. Gibson gives the pass to Smith, who curls in to score the layup here, and it helps Champlin Park to a 48-34 halftime lead. The Rebels stretch that lead in the second half. Gibson to Brennan Witt underneath for 2. Witt scores 19 and Smith 21 as the Rebels clinch at least a tie for the conference title with a 91-56 win. The Cooper and Benilde St. Margaret's girls basketball teams both lost early in the week, leaving them with 2 losses each in North Suburban Conference play. Benilde without injured Gopher signee Grace Coughlin as Cooper looks to beat them for a second time this season. Cooper gets out and runs here. Tori Green has her shot blocked, but she's able to get it back and kick it out to Manita Kelly for a 3-pointer, and we're tied up early on at 5-5. Benilde scores off inbounds plays all night. The Red Knights' Sydney Label gets an easy layup, and we're tied once again in a game that stays close throughout the game. Great passing for Benilde here. Allie Coughlin to Abby Wilgers to Azaria Jackson-Sherrod for 2 of her 13 points. The Red Knights are up by 4. Great hustle by Unique Longs here with the block shot. She recovers it and sends it ahead to Lori Bowler for the layup. Bowler leads all scorers with 14. Cooper, though, is down by 2 at halftime. Second half, and Lebo finds Gretchen Sattler on the nice cut for the left-handed layup, and Benilde goes up 28-24. Bowler outlets the ball to Longs, and she attacks in transition, scoring for a 1-point Cooper lead at this point. Benilde trying to hold a late lead, and Cooper's down by 3 in the final seconds, but no late-game heroics like in the team's first meeting. This shot is off target, and Benilde wins it 45-42. Well, you can catch more fish, including crappies, this winter with a little more use of electronics. Pro angler Tackle Terry Tuma explains in this week's Channel 12 ice fishing tip.
So many times we as anglers have a tendency to get in sort of, shall we say, a rut, if you will. You know, and for instance, a good example, and this is going to apply more than just to crappie fishing, but now we're marking suspended crappies right in this area right here. And all of a sudden, maybe we catch 3, 4, or 5, or they just move, and we don't mark any more suspended crappies, but we keep trying, and it's not productive. What we need to do is take a small lure and drop it to the bottom with the wax worm instead of this system here with a crappie minnow or pin minnow, and drop it down to the bottom, and then all of a sudden we start to jig, and many times we're going to have to jig a little bit more abruptly, if you will, and with the wax worm and a small ice lure, maybe a number 12, 14, or 16, and then you're going to start to bring these fish up right off the bottom here. And that is, and we can sort of see what's happening right here now, where we'll start to see some of these fish break the bottom, and those are going to be fish that are belly to the bottom, so to speak, with many times anglers do not believe that crappies will be that tight to the bottom. That's not true, and we start to jig really abruptly, and then we're trying to draw these fish in, and it works extremely well, very productive throughout the winter months. So we don't want to get hung up on these specific weights and specific lures, that versatility factor, as we always so often talk about. Be sure to tune in next week for another tip right here. Keep just enough fish for the frying pan.
Sounds good, Terry.
That's
Will do.
All right. Thanks, Jay. Coming up, you don't have to go to Russia for vodka variety.
Just have to go to Robbinsdale. We'll be right back.
There is another honor for the restaurant and bar scene in Robbinsdale.
USA Today named St. Petersburg Restaurant and Vodka Bar one of the 10 best vodka bars in the country. That puts it up there with bars in New York, Las Vegas, and Los Angeles. St. Petersburg is known for keeping 100 different vodkas in stock, all connected to different regions in Russia. USA Today says live music and happy hour specials make this bar a fan favorite. They've been open in Robbinsdale for about 12 years.
Beautiful pictures on the inside.
Yeah, it's great. And a vodka for every part of Russia, huh?
There you go.
You
go on a tour right
travel
there in
Russia
Robbinsdale.
right there. That's it for now. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody.
Have a good weekend, everyone.